Chilean-born artist Roberto Mata was an international figure whose perspective on the world represented a synthesis of European, American, and Latin American cultures. As a champion of the Surrealist movement and an early mentor to several abstract expressionists, Mata broke with both groups to pursue a highly personal artistic vision. His mature work blended abstraction, figuration, and multidimensional spaces into complex cosmic landscapes. Mata's long and rich career was defined by a strong social conscience and an intense exploration of his internal and external worlds. Known primarily as Mata, Roberto Antonio Sebastian Mata Echeverren was born in Santiago, Chile. He was the son of a Chilean father and a Spanish mother. His mother was well-read and highly cultured, so she nurtured Mata's interest in art, literature, and languages. Being in the upper middle class, Mata received a classical Jesuit education and enjoyed a comfortable childhood during a period of widespread economic hardship in Chile. Mata completed an architecture degree at the Catholic University in Santiago and moved to Paris in 1933 to work for the influential architect and city planner Le Corbusier. While working in the architect's studio, Mata became increasingly interested in painting. He made various friendships with the avant-garde, including Gertrude Stein, Marcel Duchamp, Walter Gropius, Salvador Dali, Federico Garcia Lorca, and Edgar Breton, all of whom stimulated his interest in the Surrealist movement. By 1936, Mata abandoned his career as architect and shifted to painting. Stylistic development was rapid. By the time he moved to New York City at age 28, Mata had created a distinctive and visionary vocabulary of biomorphic forms swirling about an eerie and angst-ridden setting. His multi-dimensional imaginary world was fraught with violent conflict and agitated movement. His work reflects the sense of dislocation and anxiety that contributed to the emergence of existentialism after World War II. Duchamp considered Mata to be the profoundest painter of his generation, and in later years, political activism occupied much of Mata's efforts. Mata established himself as one of the central figures in the Surrealist movement. Yet while he certainly shared stylistic and intellectual similarities with the Surrealist group, he was never able to completely reconcile his strong social conscience with its necessarily inward-looking practices. Instead, Mata balanced his interest in the human psyche with an active engagement with the external world. In the process, he provided early and crucial inspiration for the abstract expressionists. Listen to Living portrays a landscape scene that is distorted and warped, making the painting ambiguous. Every element in the painting is melting, drifting, slithering, and swirling before the viewer's eye. Mata's use of the oil paint has a liquidity of design that appears to make shapes transform while looking at the painting. There is the absence of anything solid or objectively realistic. This painting is a strong example of Mata's interest in psychological morphology, which is the concept of psychological time medium in which the objects are transforming. One of Mata's most celebrated paintings is The Earth is a Man. This work is powerful and enigmatic, for the light seems to battle those of darkness. Mata spilled, brushed, and wiped on various washes of paint to render the invisible waves of energy that shape and dissolve a molten, primitive terrain. The painting's visual intensity evokes the tumultuous eruption of a volcano. This painting was exhibited shortly after its completion in New York City, where the artist had immigrated at onset of World War II. The abstract and visionary qualities enthralled and influenced a new generation of American artists who would come to be known as abstract expressionists. Grave Situation was painted towards the end of the Surrealist movement. Mata, touching back to his architectural roots, chooses the human form and strips it down to its fundamental architecture. The figure suggests an Egyptian god with a beetle clutching to its abdomen. The arms become steel beams, tables, chairs, and the doors become flowing organic shapes, trying to emulate the body. Later years, Mata became actively involved in the socialist movements in the 60s and 70s. He was a strong supporter of the socialist government, President Salvador Allende in Chile. Mata painted a mural entitled The First Goal of the Chilean People, which was painted over with 16 coats of paint by the military regime of Augusto Pinochet, following their violent overthrow of Salvador Allende in 1973. In 2005, local officials discovered the mural and it was restored in 2008. The mural celebrates the victory of Allende and features amorphous human-like figures in the nude, frolicking in different contortions. Mata's fruitful career spanned over 6 decades and throughout multiple continents. He never left Chile behind when he traveled to Europe and North America, but rather infused a part of Chile into those worldwide influential circles. Ultimately, Mata broke with the conventions of the Surrealist movement by adding a dimension of social and political awareness to his work. He often supplemented an aesthetic of pure abstraction with the elements of figuration and precisely rendered, though fantastically conceived, three-dimensional space. His exploration of the unconscious mind through a symbolic language of abstract forms greatly influenced the early development of abstract expressionism. In the words of Mata, "I am interested only in the unknown, and I work for my own astonishment."